This story began in a distant castle, where Noah, the family's youngest punching bag, decided it was time to finally take down his elder sister. However, after several calculated and persistent strikes, Reza, one of his elder sisters, dodged his attacks effortlessly, for to her, Noah fought like a Disney princess. Eventually, growing tired of toying with Noah, Reza, like a masterful swordsman, launched an air attack and smacked his big round head, sending him crashing to the ground, where he sat, massaging his onion head in pain. As the pitiful duel concluded, Reza smugly demanded to know how many years Noah had been sparring with her, and before the poor guy could even respond, Reza picked him up like Woody from Toy Story, announcing that it had been 3 years, yet Noah still remained a useless weakling. Reza concluded that, at this rate, it was only fair to call Noah nothing but a talentless waste of existence. When Noah desperately tried to defend himself, explaining that he had been pouring his all into the training, Reza snapped, retorting that all he was good at was whining like a fat baby. Reza made it clear to Noah that she was the best at wielding a sword, and anyone under her guidance should be grateful rather than complaining. While Noah attempted to defend himself again, Reza began to walk away, declaring that she had always known Noah was a femboy with hands better suited for knitting than knifing. Just then, as Reza departed, Seal, another one of Noah's sisters, popped out of nowhere and playfully suggested that since Noah was hopeless at swordsmanship, he might try his luck with sorcery. In response, Noah, already feeling dejected, reminded her that she had once told him he lacked talent for magic, too. Seal agreed she said so, and then teased Noah, claiming he was never truly part of the family, just some bum their dad took in, and the only reason he was still living in the castle was because of her and her sister's generosity. This was Noah's final breaking point, as he firmly declared that he was leaving the house for good. Seal couldn't believe her ears, and before she could respond, Noah started walking toward the house, informing her that he was packing his bags and leaving immediately. Panicking, Seal sprinted after Noah, swearing it was all a joke. But Noah just told her to relay the memo to Reza and the rest of his sisters. Desperate to stop him, Seal blocked Noah's path and demanded to know how he planned to survive outside their cushy castle walls, to which Noah confidently replied that he intended to become an adventurer since the Adventurers Guild was always recruiting. Soon after, Noah entered his room, stuffing his bag with the essentials, his sword, a cloak, and a map, and prepared to leave. Still, Seal, standing at the door like a clingy ex, warned that adventuring was a death sentence for a schmuck like him. In reply, Noah turned and assured her he would only take jobs suited to his level. Then, donning his cloak, Noah grinned widely and advised Seal to quit wasting her breath, for his decision was final. While heading to the main gate, with Seal still trailing behind, she demanded to know if his real reason for leaving his family was because he was simping for some chick. Noah dismissed the idea as silly and then revealed that his whole life, every time he'd gone out, he'd been accompanied by his sisters. But now, standing before the massive gate, our boy declared that this time, he was going out into the world alone. As he pushed the gate open, Noah pointed out that remaining in the castle would only turn him into a brain-dead couch potato, incapable of ever learning anything. Finally, with Noah stepping outside the castle, Seal made one last attempt to stop him, warning that the world beyond the castle was filled with monstrous creatures that would rip him apart. Even so, Noah's resolve held firm, and seeing this, Seal grew frustrated, turned her back, and stated that she couldn't care less what happened to him. Undeterred, as Noah walked farther from the castle, he pulled out a map of the city and fixed his gaze on the border. Beyond the castle, the kingdom consisted of the eastern part, inhabited by humans, and the western part, crawling with demons. However, right between these regions lay the border where Noah had just arrived, also known as the Holy Land of Adventurers. Meanwhile, Ort, the merchant who had graciously given Noah a ride on his carriage, asked Noah if he intended to become an adventurer, to which Noah replied with a confident yes. With that, Ort happily handed Noah a sealed envelope, explaining that it contained a recommendation letter for the guild. Stunned, Noah demanded to know why Ort would give him such a valuable gift, prompting Ort to aggressively grab Noah's hand and declare it was a thank you for saving their lives and ensuring a safe journey thus far. As it turned out, a few days earlier, their peaceful carriage ride was suddenly ambushed by a gang of freaky goblins that looked like you. The weak adventurers hired to protect the caravan immediately froze in shock, leaving Noah, just a boy, to do their job for them. In a surprising turn of events, Noah sprang into action. Standing before the goblins, clearly overconfident, was their general, who immediately swung his blade at Noah. But to Noah, who had spent his whole life getting his ego shattered by Reza, The goblins' attacks were laughably in slow-mo compared to Reisa's. Effortlessly, Noah dodged every strike from the goblin general. With inhumane speed, he blitzed through the goblin ranks and, in one fluid motion, casually dismembered them like a chef slicing onions, leaving everyone in awe. Back in the present, Ort praised Noah's remarkable fighting skills, and even though Noah tried to remain humble by shrugging it off, Ort thanked him again. When they reached the city, Ort urged Noah to swing by his shop if he ever needed anything, promising a generous discount. Soon after, Noah arrived at the Adventurers Guild, and as he stood at the entrance, reality crept in. He suddenly felt a wave of nervousness about pursuing a new life without his sister's support. Just then, a deep baritone voice demanded to know what business he had with the guild. It turned out to be a scrawny man with a goatee who noticed Noah's tension and approached to offer help. Next, the dude encouraged Noah not to be afraid, but to push open the gate and step inside like a man. Furthermore, the guy assured Noah that the guild always welcomed those with a heart for adventure and the skills to prove it. With newfound confidence, Noah entered and was greeted by Lumelia, the receptionist with a nice backside. With a smile, she asked if Noah wished to register as an adventurer, to which Noah eagerly confirmed he did. Promptly, Lumelia handed Noah a registration form, and after Noah completed it, she informed him that he was now an F-rank adventurer. Noah immediately remembered the loot he'd claimed from defeating the goblins and then handed Lumelia a small bag, explaining that he'd like to sell the contents. However, upon seeing the small sack, Lumelia's eyes widened in shock, for she recognized it as a magic bag. Lumelia immediately dragged Noah to the storage room to unpack, and as he did, Noah, puzzled by her reaction, casually mentioned that his sister Seal had once told him crafting such a bag was a basic skill for any aspiring wizard. Finally, when Noah finished emptying the bag's impressive haul, Lumelia's eyes nearly popped out from its socket like she just witnessed a ghost stripping, and in stunned disbelief, she demanded to know who Noah truly was. Lumelia pinned Noah to the wall, and upon noticing her desperation, Noah explained that he was merely an amateur who had picked up bits of magic and swordplay here and there. Lumelia, not buying a single word, pointed out that an amateur couldn't possibly gather such high-grade goblin materials. Lumelia also revealed that only a B-rank adventurer could achieve such a feat, and even they would struggle to pull it off. Growing desperate, Lumelia asked Noah if he was a knight, to which Noah, stunned by the ridiculous question, replied with a firm no. Still curious, Lumelia pressed further, demanding to know if the items were stolen, prompting Noah, now irritated, to snap loudly that they were not. Suddenly, Noah recalled the recommendation letter Ort had given him. So he immediately pulled out the letter from his bag and handed it to Lumelia, and upon spotting Ort's seal, Lumelia opened it eagerly. According to the letter, Ort vouched for Noah, confirming that he had indeed exterminated the monsters himself. After reading the letter, Lumelia bowed her head and apologized for doubting Noah, though she remained puzzled about how to proceed. Just then, someone stepped into the storage room and suggested that the only way to resolve the matter was through a special test. It turned out to be the scrawny man with a goatee from earlier, whom Lumelia addressed as the guild master, much to Noah's shock, who thought he was some tavern drunk. The guild master introduced himself to Noah as Avolt, and then informed Lumelia that he'd come looking for her because the receptionist's desk was congested. As Lumelia hurried off to handle her duties, Avolt told Noah he was free to either take the special test or decline, adding that if he chose not to, he'd simply start as an ordinary adventurer. The next day, Noah decided to take the test and was led to the guild's underground training hall, where Lumelia explained that the test involved a mock battle with an examiner. Lumelia also mentioned that excelling in the test would allow him to begin his adventurer career as a D rank. Noah thanked her for the details, and at that moment, he felt a surge of pride, finally feeling like he was stepping out of his sister's shadows and on the path to becoming an adventurer. Simultaneously, he wondered if winning the test might restore some self-confidence, which his mean sisters had shredded daily by calling him a limp noodle. Suddenly, the female examiner stormed into the training hall and introduced herself as Kruta, apologizing for her tardiness. Noah, expecting some battle-hardened veteran, was dumbfounded to see that the so-called examiner was his age. Kruta immediately misinterpreted Noah's gaze and assumed he was underestimating her. Lumelia chimed in, noting that although Kruta might resemble a malnourished chihuahua, she was a rank adventurer and exceptionally strong. When Kruta noticed Noah lost in thought, she fiercely warned him that distraction in a mock fight could lead to serious injury. Leaning forward, Kruta asked Noah if he still wanted to proceed with the duel, to which Noah stammered he did. With that, Lumilia announced the start of the duel, clarifying that the duel would end only when one side surrendered. As the duel commenced, Kruta observed how Noah gripped his wooden sword and assumed he lacked confidence. Nevertheless, she resolved not to hold back. The two charged at each other, only to clash swords moments later. Noah swung his blade to land a hit, but Kruta sidestepped and attempted a counterattack, which Noah evaded by tilting his head. Impressed, Kruta marveled at Noah's reflexes while Noah admired her speed. Suddenly, Kruta leapt high and, upon landing, unleashed a flurry of slashes, yet Noah dodged everyone. Realizing her rapid swings made countering difficult, Noah opted to create distance, but Kruta, like a seasoned swordsman, closed the gap instantly. Frustrated, Kruta remarked that Noah had been dodging and playing defensive the entire time. Determined, Kruta increased her speed to overwhelm Noah with even faster strikes. As she prepared her assault, Noah unexpectedly swung his sword at her face, nearly ripping off her nose in the process, forcing Kruta to execute a daring stunt to dodge, shocking both her and Lumilia. Once Kruta landed, she couldn't believe Noah could perform such a powerful sword movement and demanded to know where he'd learned it. Noah asked if it wasn't a common skill and then lied, claiming he'd learned it at a downtown dojo, though in truth, his sister Reza had taught him, but he wasn't about to let them know that. Sensing his dishonesty, Kruta dropped her wooden sword, ready to get serious and thrash him. But Lumilia intervened, shouting that it wasn't worth escalating and reminding Kruta it was just a test. Still, Kruta summoned her mystical sword, and when Noah saw it, he grew uneasy, knowing his wooden blade stood no chance. Yet he recalled how Reza had trained him to dodge her invisible attacks, though he'd flopped most times and was sent flying. Back in the present, Kruta charged with her invisible blade, but Noah resolved to calm himself. Surprisingly, this clarity let him track her movements despite her blinding speed. Seizing a fleeting chance, Noah swung at Kruta, which she dodged by unleashing her inner matrix. But Noah pressed forward and landed an elbow to her gut, sending her crashing to the ground. While on the ground topless, Kruta accepted defeat, shocking Lumilia, who had never believed in her wildest imagination that a rookie could ever beat a rank. Lumilia rushed to check if Kruta was okay, and that's when Lumilia, surprised, pointed out that her moderate-sized melons were dangling freely as a bird. Kruta, shocked at seeing this, immediately tried to cover up while Noah also tried to cover his virgin eyes from getting cultured. After throwing Kruta atop to reclaim what little dignity she had left, Lumilia dashed off, announcing she'd informed the guild master of the mock battle outcome. As she exited, Kruta grabbed Noah's shoulder, leaned close, and whispered that they should form a party together, leaving Noah utterly shocked. Meanwhile, at the castle, Noah's 5 sisters had gathered for an emergency Noah's missing meeting. Alia, the eldest, practically exploded when she found out their little brother had bailed and blamed Seal for not using binding spell magic to restrain him. In response, Seal explained that spell binding magic could be dangerous if mishandled, and even then, it wouldn't have stopped the coconut head from leaving. Suddenly, Fem, the third daughter, chimed in, urging them not to fight, but to address the situation with maturity. However, before she could finish, Ecclesia, the youngest, interrupted and declared that the other sisters were to be blamed for Noah leaving home, shocking the 4 of them. Ecclesia elaborated that when their parents passed away, they all swore to raise Noah as a family despite not being blood-related. Yet, over time, instead of just letting Noah be a normal boy, Alia fried his brain with current affairs like he was preparing for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Seal tried to turn him into Merlin overnight with her relentless magic training, and the worst of all was Reza and her vigorous sword training that always left Noah battered and bruised. At that, the sisters erupted into an argument, but Alia swiftly silenced them and insisted they find Noah immediately, as he might be in danger. Nevertheless, Reza reassured her elder sister to chill, explaining that Noah's swordsmanship could slay a dragon and his magic skills were solid. However, Seal interjected, pointing out that the real issue would arise if Noah's talents made him popular, and he started bagging chicks here and there, leaving the rest of the sisters in shock. Instantly, the sisters panicked at the mere thought of Noah getting cozy with bad chicks. Reza, unable to bear it any longer, freaked out and dashed off to search for him, while the remaining sisters agreed to reconvene once they'd made progress in locating him. With a stern gaze, Alia emphasized that their top priority was to use every means necessary to find Noah, which the rest of the sisters agreed to. Meanwhile, at the Adventurers Guild, Noah received his first mission as a D-rank adventurer, to exterminate a ferocious boar ravaging fields. Lumilia informed him that the reward was 10,000 gold, then asked if he was comfortable with his choice. Initially, Noah assumed she meant starting as a D-rank adventurer and assured her he was fine with it. However, Lumilia clarified she was referring to his rejection of Kruda's offer to form a party. In reply, Noah explained that after careful thought, he feared he'd be a useless burden to Kruda as a rookie, though, in truth, Noah dreaded another sister-like figure babysitting him. Lumilia attempted to persuade him, revealing that Kruda was an exceptional adventurer and, more temptingly, Kulta had nice soft plots that would make any man go gaga. Still, Noah chose to remain a culturedless man, asserting that a hot chick like Kruda was way out of his league. Defiantly, Noah added that Kruda's initial looking down on him before their duel was another reason for his refusal. Suddenly, Kruda appeared out of nowhere, apologized for her attitude, and pleaded with Noah to join her. Yet, Noah stubbornly declined, and after facing rejection yet again, Kruda relented for the moment, then asked Lumilia if she'd gotten any update on the case she was investigating, to which Lumilia confirmed she had. After receiving the details, Kruda zoomed off, prompting Noah to ask Lumilia what the case was all about. Unintentionally, Lumilia revealed it involved an enemy Kruda was pursuing, but she quickly regained her senses and begged Noah to act as if he'd heard nothing, citing the case was confidential, to which Noah agreed. Following that, Lumilia mentioned that Kruda was the guild's most sought-after adventurer, with countless simp adventurers dying to team up with her, and Noah's repeated rejections as a rookie were stirring hatred among them. In response, Noah suggested that to avoid attention, he'd prefer missions far away in the city, surprising Lumilia, who explained that city jobs were mundane, like cleaning and barely paid. Nevertheless, Noah insisted on city assignments. Frustrated, Lumilia sighed and asked Noah if he'd take a job cleaning a church graveyard for 8,000 gold, which Noah eagerly accepted. Meanwhile, deep in the sewer under a church, some creepy magician was undergoing an experiment that involved turning humans into ghouls and zombie dragons. In the next scene, after accepting the mission to clean the church's graveyard, Noah magically tidied every inch of it, thus completing the task. However, the church's sister, Rhea, then requested an additional favor, asking Noah to venture into the sewer to investigate a foul odor's source. And just like that, Noah found himself roped into a sewer expedition with B-rank adventurers Loga and Nino. But from the moment they met, Nino made it painfully clear she despised teaming up with a mere D-rank like Noah. In response, Sister Rhea reassured her that Noah was highly capable, even revealing how Nea had single-handedly cleaned the entire graveyard. Even so, Nino insisted she still found Noah's face repulsive. Suddenly, Loga intervened and explained to Noah that Nino's hatred stemmed from jealousy. Apparently, Nino had been simping over Kruda for years, practically begging to form a party with her, only to get rejected every time. So seeing Noah, whom Kruda eagerly wanted as a partner, felt like a personal attack on her fragile ego. Following this, Sister Rhea announced the start of the investigation, adding that the sewer had once served as a criminal hideout, allowing the stench to take root before anyone noticed. As the team advanced and stood before the reeking stream of waste, Noah sensed something amiss and promptly warned the team of an impending attack. Before they could react, ghouls erupted from the waste and lunged at the group. Nino sliced through the ghouls effortlessly while Loga shielded the team with his massive shield. Meanwhile, Noah sliced through the ghouls and together, they eventually vanquished the ghouls. Once the last ghoul hit the floor, Loga thanked Noah for his timely alert, but Nino, still salty, muttered that she didn't expect Noah to detect the attack before her, a literal ninja. Noah just shrugged, casually stating that sensing enemies was a basic skill, nothing worth a trophy. Nino argued that it was an advanced technique, but Noah let it slide before she combusted from insecurity. In reality, Noah had learned it from his sister Reza, who had spent years drilling it into his skull that a swordsman should sense threats even with their eyes shut. On the other hand, Rhea and Lagwa discussed how strange it was for ghouls with zero intelligence to orchestrate an ambush. Loga pointed out that their synchronized attack of the ghouls suggested a mastermind pulling the strings. Shortly thereafter, as the team delved deeper into the sewer, the stench intensified, and suddenly, Nino spotted a piece of paper drifting toward her, startling her. Before she could process it, the paper enveloped her, and right before their eyes, a zombie dragon wrapped in tissue-like material emerged. As the creature moved to swallow Nino whole, Noah sprang into action, striking it with his blade, only to be stunned when his attack failed to pierce the dragon's impenetrable body. The tissue dragon retaliated, attempting to ensnare Noah with its wrappings, but Noah shredded them with his sword before they could mummify him. Noah realized that merely tearing the tissues wouldn't stop the beast, and penetrating its body proved impossible. To defeat it, Noah knew he'd need a stronger attack, though it risked damaging his sword. As Noah weighed his options, Loga, now carrying Nino, suggested they flee through a narrow corridor too small for the dragon to follow. But then, a voice boomed through the sewer, declaring escape was futile, and instantly, a massive horde of ghouls blocked the corridor. At that moment, the team realized they were trapped, and just then, the tissue dragon positioned itself before them. Noah stepped up, knowing he had no other option but to go all out. Even if it meant his sword would break to pieces, he had to protect his teammates. However, before Noah could attack, the tissue dragon transformed into a massive driller and lunged at him. Yet, at that precise moment, Noah charged forward, and his blade collided with the drilling machine. Instantly, the drilling machine shattered upon impact, but Noah's blade broke apart, leaving him stunned. Consequently, Noah grew anxious, fearing Reza would reprimand him for ruining the sword she'd gifted him. Suddenly, though, he noticed the monster regenerating, and Sister Rhea drew his attention to its core, explaining that the monster could regenerate thanks to the power of its core. As the monster let out a deafening roar that triggered a mini explosion, Noah scrambled backwards, only to be saved by Loga's massive shield. Desperately, Noah started to think with his one brain cell for a way to destroy the core without his blade. But just then, Nino called out to him, grabbed his head, and reminded him they were a team, meaning he should stop acting like a lone ranger and start cooperating. Nino handed Noah a black steel knife, and immediately, Loga instructed Noah to deal with the monster while they guarded Sister Rhea, to which Noah nodded in agreement. With that, Noah leapt high, aiming directly for the monster's core. Initially, Noah considered breaking through the bones to reach it, but ultimately, he delivered a single precise stab to the core that shattered it, and the zombie dragon was destroyed instantly. With the dragon defeated, Loga and Rhea rushed to hug Noah, thanking him profusely for his victory. As Noah returned the black steel mana blade to Nino, she unexpectedly bowed her head in gratitude, surprising him. Following that, Noah inquired about the ghouls at the entrance, to which Nino informed him they'd vanished once the dragon was destroyed. Curiously, Loga wondered aloud who the mastermind behind the ghouls and dragon could be, noting that it felt like a targeted attack. However, Sister Rhea insisted they leave the sewer immediately since their task was merely to investigate, not fight monsters. As they made their way out, Noah, still heartbroken over his broken sword, stared at it like a man mourning his lost love. Loga noticed him staring and promised to introduce him to a blacksmith who could fix it, instantly lifting Noah's mood like a fat boy who's promised a burger. Unbeknownst to them, though, a mysterious, monstrous black anaconda watched their departure from the shadows. Meanwhile, back at the Windstar Kingdom, Reza was summoned by the king to test some janky LG transformer. The raunchy-looking king assured Reza that this challenge wouldn't be as simple as the last, yet Reza confidently countered that she could handle any scrap machine he threw her way. When the king's advisor begged the king to reconsider, warning that the transformer was equipped with cannons powerful enough to wipe a country off the map, and even someone as OP as Reza might struggle. But Reza reassured her not to fret, claiming she was ready for anything. Reza vowed to deflect every shot, but in return, requested a favor if she triumphed. Curious, the king demanded to know her terms, to which Reza asked for a break from night duties to search for her brother, a request the king eagerly granted. With that, the advisor announced the duel's commencement. As the low-budget Megatron prepared its cannon to blast Reza, Reza drifted into thought, reflecting on Noah, their vow to protect him after their parents' death, and her regret for being too harsh on him. Suddenly, the machine unleashed a massive blast, but with one remarkable move, Reza deflected every shot, leaving the king and his advisor shocked to the bones. Swiftly, Reza retaliated with a flying slash and quadruple flash, splitting the machine in two and ending the duel in mere minutes. Afterwards, Reza reminded the king she'd be taking her promised days off. Meanwhile, at the border city, after Noah and his party eliminated a dragon zombie, they traded its materials for cash at the guild. Noah received the largest share, 10 million gold coins, much to his surprise. However, Loga, who earned 1.5 million, explained that Noah deserved it for defeating the dragon solo, while Nino pocketed 2.5 million. As they exited the guild after the day's mission, Loga whispered to Noah not to be late for their rendezvous the next day, hinting he would be taking Noah to a nice place. Puzzled, Noah asked if they weren't heading to the blacksmith anymore, prompting Loga to shut him up, warning of Nino overhearing their conversation. Thus, the following day in the city, Noah met Loga, who awaited him eagerly. As they prepared to depart for the secret spot, Nino suddenly appeared among them, insisting she tag along. Annoyed, Loga demanded to know why she was there, to which Nino snapped irritably, questioning if he planned to drag Noah to a brothel full of thirsty chicks. Frustrated, Loga retorted that as adventurers, they were allowed to blow their hard-earned money, pounding on some sweet cakes if they wanted to. But Noah interjected immediately, nervously admitting he wasn't ready to be a man of culture just yet. Noah explained that he had 5 scary sisters back home that he was scared of. In response, Loga remarked that his sisters couldn't be that intimidating to make him quake. But seeing Noah's resolve to remain a timid virgin, Logwa agreed and suggested they visit the blacksmith instead. Eventually, they arrived at a mansion, which Noah, awestruck, assumed was the blacksmith's place, only for Loga to burst his bubble by pointing out the tiny shop next door. As they entered, a gruff dwarf named Barg greeted them. Promptly, Loga introduced Noah and Nino as his work buddies, and Barg demanded to know who needed his services. Loga nudged Noah forward and informed Barg that Noah was a pretty skillful swordsman. Skeptically, Barg remarked that Noah looked like a frightened weakling, but Loga countered that Noah had single-handedly slain a zombie dragon. Stunned, Barg picked Noah up like a ragdoll, shouting to confirm it, to which Noah timidly affirmed it was true. Then, Barg sniffed Noah like a dog and, with a crooked grin, declared he believed it, claiming he could smell Noah's disgusting, overpowered strength. With a fierce glare, Barg surprisingly ordered Noah to strip, but Noah, alarmed, exclaimed he wouldn't. In the next scene, Noah exited the blacksmith shop, looking like a man who had just made some terrible life choices. When Loga began teasing him, dubbing him Mr. Macho, Noah, thoroughly flustered, pleaded with him to stop. Apparently, just minutes earlier, inside the blacksmith shop, Noah had stripped down to his cheap boxers, and Barg, the muscle fetish dwarf, had enjoyed touching every part of his body like a degenerate. Back in the present, Loga, genuinely impressed, asked Noah how he'd gotten so shredded. This prompted Noah to recall how his sister Femme had trained him by repeatedly beating him into the dirt, healing him just enough to do it all over again. This training had sculpted his V-taper and toned his abs. Meanwhile, Nino burst into mocking laughter after having had a glimpse at Noah's tiny PP back in the shop. But Loga cut in, declaring it was enough humiliation for one day and suggested they return to the guild. As they headed toward the guild, Nino reminded the guys of the request Barg had posted to the guild. Evidently, Barg had sent Noah on an assignment to acquire some Roctotoy shell. Then and only then would he acknowledge Noah as the new master of the sword he had given to him. Noah grew anxious about tackling the mission solo, but Loga reassured him that adventurers support each other. Later that day, Lumilia, smiling, handed the team a document confirming they were officially a party. With a tired look, Lumilia told Noah she had finally finished dealing with their last mission and could finally rest. Curious, Noah asked if she meant the dragon zombie incident in the sewer, to which Lumilia nodded, adding that the guild was deploying top rankers to investigate further. Suddenly, Kruta emerged from nowhere, informing Noah she was among those rankers heading to the sewer. However, upon spotting Kruta, Nino turned into an overly excited child and started fangirling over her like some obsessed celebrity crush until Loga had to drag her away. With Nino out of the way, Kruta leaned in and whispered to Noah that she had always been destined to cross paths with the undead. When Noah, intrigued, demanded to know what she meant by that, Kruta revealed it was related to her past. Kruta disclosed that demons had raised her homeland as a child, driving her to become an adventurer for revenge. Additionally, she admitted her persistent pleas to form a party with Noah were partly to use him as bait for that vengeance. Surprisingly, though, she noted that Noah had just provided her with a lead. As Kruta turned to leave, Noah called her back and then handed her a protection charm to protect her from demons, catching her off guard. Yet, before she could take it, Nino rushed forward, snatched the charm, cast a mysterious spell on it, and returned it to Kruta, leaving Loga suspicious. Nevertheless, Kruta accepted it from Nino, confident she meant no harm. Before departing, Kruta glanced back and asked Noah if she could take him on a date once the matter was settled, to which Noah agreed, saying he looked forward to it. Following this, the team journeyed to the Great Wetlands for Barg's Roctotoys slaying mission. There, they encountered monstrous Roctotoyses the size of houses, leaving them in utter shock. Immediately, Loga briefed the team that physical attacks were useless against the tortoise, while Nino chimed in, adding that the monster tortoise was also resistant to magic. When Noah then asked how to defeat them, Loga explained that targeting a weak spot on their necks was the only way. With that, Noah gripped his new blade, eager to try out his new weapon. At that moment, he recalled Barg mentioning the sword was crafted from heating rock and the sword boasted of had 3 unique abilities. As Noah struck the tortoise, he kept in mind that, according to Barg, the first ability was its sturdiness. Then, as he sliced through, he remembered the second, its sharpness. With the monstrous tortoise slashed down, Noah felt fully satisfied with his sword's qualities. Moreover, Noah recalled the sword's special ability, which explained why it cost a staggering 10 million gold coins, even discounted. While Noah celebrated his win over the giant tortoise, Loga, standing beside Nino, quickly cautioned him not to celebrate prematurely. Before Loga could warn that rock tortoises never roam alone, a horde of giant tortoises surrounded the team. Instantly, Nino blamed Noah for showing off, which alerted the other tortoise to his strength. Loga laughed over Nino's comment, but then pointed out that, with no escape, they'd have to face them all. Noah quickly proposed a strategy. He and Nino would distract the tortoises while Loga went for the weak spots. However, before they could execute the plan, a tortoise abomination suddenly materialized out of nowhere. Noah immediately unleashed a flying flash against the magnetoise, but this only enraged the beast. In retaliation, the monster expelled a fiery breath, which Loga deflected by shielding both himself and Noah with his massive shield. At that moment, Noah observed that long-range attacks were ineffective, which Loga confirmed they were. Thinking on his feet, Noah then proposed a close-range assault, but Loga objected, warning that the magnetoise's heat would turn them into a well-done steak if they got too near. Just then, Nino interjected, informing the team that the creature lacked magic resistance and could be obliterated using magic spells. However, Nino highlighted a problem, stating that since none of them were wizards, their only strategy now was to say their last prayers. Suddenly, Noah recalled that the grumpy, muscle-obsessed dwarf, Barg, had mentioned that the final ability of the blade he wielded was mana absorption. Barg had also explained that the sword could slice through spells and absorb their mana. When Noah asked if it could cast magic, Barg affirmed with an enthusiastic yes. Armed with this knowledge, Noah declared to the team that he had a plan. Noah revealed that he'd imbue his sword with magic and activate a flying flash. When the team questioned if it was possible, Noah assured them it was, though he cautioned he'd need time to channel the mana. Loga immediately volunteered to clean up the smaller tortoises, while Nino decided to distract the magnetoise with her bouncy buns. Smirking, however, Nino warned Noah that if his plan failed after using B-rank adventurers as bait, she'd personally rip off his carrot. With no time to waste, Nino and Loga sprang into action, executing their roles, while Noah focused on gathering mana from within and transferring it to his sword. The mana he summoned bore an ice attribute, and after channeling it through his hand, he infused it into the blade. As the sword absorbed enough ice mana, the ground beneath Noah's feet froze instantly. Meanwhile, Nino kept the magnetoise occupied, and just as it stumbled into a pit and struggled to rise, she yelled for Noah to take the shot. Immediately, Noah unleashed an ice slash, and with one swift flash, he turned the monster into nothing but meat chunks. With the beast vanquished, the team sighed in relief, and Nino, for the first time, praised Noah for making a magic sword and even calling him awesome, much to Noah's surprise. Loga, on the other hand, pointed out that they actually made a solid team and suggested they head back to the guild to collect their hard-earned reward. On their way back, Nino asked Noah if he'd considered the advancement test to boost his rank. In reply, Noah explained he wasn't eligible until he completed one more request. Furthermore, Noah recalled that when he joined the guild, Lumilia had told him 5 D-rank missions were required before he could ascend. Just then, they noticed a crowd at the entrance of the guild, making them wonder what was going on. In the middle of the commotion stood Sister Rhea, trembling as she announced that there was a huge problem at the church graveyard. Sister Rhea elaborated that a horde of undead was currently roaming the premises. Additionally, Rhea reported that some kind of massive rumbling was coming from beneath the church, likely from the sewer, and pleaded for the guild's help to evacuate those inside the church. Noah suggested they report the issue to the guild first, but at that instant, a massive explosion rocked the church grounds, sending the whole city into a full-blown panic. Sensing trouble, Noah urged Sister Rhea to take shelter inside the guild, and then told the team they needed to reach the church immediately. Minutes later, the team arrived and froze in shock at a gaping hole in the church's center caused by the blast. Suddenly, a swarm of undead crawled out from within, and before the team could react, a blinding light pierced the sky. In the midst of the light emerged the evil mage, clutching an unconscious Kruta entwined with snakes. Before long, the guild members convened an emergency meeting regarding Kruta's abduction. Noah attempted to explain that they'd tried to stop the mysterious villain who kidnapped Kruta, but he escaped. Avolt, the guild master, acknowledged their effort, yet Avolt pointed out that it was a demon who had abducted Kruta. Avolt elaborated that monsters were different from demons because demons were more intelligent, wicked, and possessed tremendous powers. An A-rank adventurer named Shrine inquired why the demon had targeted Kruta. In response, Avolt disclosed that Kruta was the main objective all along. Avolt asked if they'd discovered necromancy tools in the church, prompting Nino to question if the demon intended to use Kruta for a necromancy experiment, though Avolt admitted he wasn't sure. Frustrated, Nino shouted that they should rescue Kruta immediately rather than waste time gossiping. However, Avolt cautioned against it, noting that the demon's necromancy could turn a group assault deadly, potentially transforming casualties into undead. Avolt emphasized that only an S-rank adventurer could defeat such a demon. Instantly, Nino demanded they summon this adventurer, but Avolt explained they'd sent a request, only to learn she was busy dealing with her own personal issues and could not help at the moment. That's when Noah suddenly got interested in who this mystery warrior was, and when he got to know the adventurer was none other than his sister Reza, he nearly choked on his spit. Determined to act, Nino shot up from her seat, ready to head out alone, but Loga yanked her back, warning that it was a death wish, while Avolt added she didn't even know the location. Glancing at a map, Nino revealed she knew precisely where Kruta was, thanks to a tracker she'd embedded in the protective charm Noah had given her earlier, pinpointing Kruta at the Wicked Spirit Forest. Nearly in tears, Nino declared that losing Kruta would make her entire adventure life meaningless. Seeing how important Kulta was to Nino, Noah was touched, and then declared he'd join her, claiming he was only doing it because Kruta still owed him dinner. Loga sighed and then signed up, too. Before leaving, Noah tossed Avolt a small dagger, stating that if he showed it to Reza, she'd drop whatever she was doing and come in 2 seconds, just like you in bed. Avolt, momentarily stunned by the crest on the dagger, decided not to ask further questions and instead gave them the green light to embark on their rescue mission. Soon after, the team finally got to the evil forest, but after walking for hours, they realized they had been circling the forest like it was a maze. Nino, still tracking Kruta, pointed out that they should have reached the mansion at the center like yesterday. At this, Logwa theorized they might have been trapped in the forest, leading Nino to activate Veli Break Eye, a ninja technique to pierce illusions and traps, though she reported not seeing any trap or illusion. That's when Noah's gaze landed on a tree with the face of a human, and immediately alerted the team. The tree monster, exposed, unleashed vines that ensnared Nino. At that instant, Noah announced the tree monsters were why they couldn't advance, and then explained that the tree monsters were changing the forest path and were misleading them. Fed up with being caught, however, Nino slashed through the vines in a fury, freeing herself. Loga then suggested they bulldoze through the trees instead of wasting time fighting them individually. Noah agreed, and with brute force, they barreled through the tree monsters and emerged onto a walkway to the mansion. Yet, just as they thought they'd escaped, demon dogs ambushed them, prompting Noah to remark that the number of monsters they were facing only proved they were on the right track. Suddenly, giant footsteps approached, revealing 2 massive ogres wielding weapons. The team froze, rattled by the freakish sight, but Loga urged Noah to leave the monsters to them and head into the mansion. Noah hesitated, feeling bad about leaving them behind, but Nino insisted he go, pointing out that taking down the necromancer would put an end to the monster attacks altogether. With that, Noah agreed, carving a path with his massive sword and dashing into the mansion. Upon entering, a croaky voice echoed through the dimly lit hall, congratulating him for making it this far. Moments later, the demon materialized before him, so Noah fearlessly demanded to know where Kulta was. The demon told him to chill, assuring he'd see her soon. Suddenly, Noah's eyes widened in horror as he spotted Kruta, looking strange and covered in snakes from head to toe. Furious, Noah demanded an explanation, to which the demon revealed he'd turned Kruta into a necromancy experiment. The demon added that he'd forced numerous souls to possess Kruta's living body. When Noah, enraged, pressed for clarity, the demon explained he'd used Kruta's intense emotions as a catalyst to make her a living undead. Furthermore, the demon boasted that Kruta's hatred for him for slaughtering her family made her an ideal vessel. Having heard enough, Noah lunged to attack, but his attack was blocked by a possessed Kruta who countered the attack at inhumane speed by unleashing a flurry of slashes, which Noah narrowly dodged. Thinking fast, Noah cast a blanch spell to purify Kruta, but the demon only laughed, mocking him for thinking such a weak spell could cleanse the undead raging inside Kruta. Feeling smug, the demon taunted that only a light magic spell could save Kruta. At that, Noah recalled his sister Fem teaching him that the ultimate light magic spell involved temporarily hosting a light spirit to purify everything. Back in the past, the demon Valjima had long harbored a dream of creating the ultimate undead. Thus, heedless of the cost, he experimented relentlessly with countless innocent humans until he devised a method to realize his vision. This method involved forcing spirits to possess a living human, using a spell to fuse the undead with the living. However, a significant problem emerged. The problem was that ordinary humans reacted violently to dead spirits, resulting in their demise. Yet, over the years, Valjima devised a horrific solution. His approach entailed selecting a village, attacking it, and massacring its inhabitants. The slain would become spirits of the dead, while one survivor, fueled by hatred and a thirst for vengeance, would remain. This fate befell Kruta, who later became an avenger and a vessel capable of withstanding dead spirits, enabling her transformation into the ultimate undead. Nevertheless, Valjima's flawless scheme was about to go up in flames, for in the present, Noah, kneeling, unleashed the ultimate light spell. Amid a blinding glow, Kruta was cleansed of all undead spirits within her and was restored to normal. Witnessing Noah dismantle his years of work, Valjima erupted in fury and, in a sudden surge of rage, morphed into a venomous, multi-headed abomination. Without hesitation, Valjima lunged at Noah, but our boy flipped into the air, deftly evading the assault. As he dodged, Noah had a horrifying realization that Valjima's attacks were just as relentless as his sister Raisa's training. Still wielding his sword, he resolved not to be outmatched in strength. Valjima, desperate to end Noah, kept coming at him head after head, each strike aiming to rip Noah to shreds. But Noah stayed light on his feet, deflecting blows and dodging with expert timing. When the moment was right, Noah activated a flying slash, slicing through one of Valjima's hideous heads. Astonished that Noah could wound him, Valjima proclaimed Noah a worthy vessel, too, vowing not to send him to hell, but to capture him alive for his next science project. This time, as Valjima charged with full force, he threatened to capture Noah's guild teammates as well and promised to snuff out their lives slowly. But in that instant, Noah infused his sword with the Blanche spell, fully intending to send Valjima straight to the Shadow Realm. Noah knew the demon could regenerate, but not if he took out the head. Meanwhile, as Noah clashed with Valjima, Kruta gradually regained consciousness. Determined to target Valjima's head, Noah surged forward at full speed, thrusting his blade, but Valjima tilted his head, causing Noah to miss. Yet, in that fleeting moment, a sword from nowhere slammed into his eye. It turned out Kruta had hurled it, and seizing the chance, Noah drove his magic blade through Valjima's skull, splitting it in half before landing dramatically on the ground. With Valjima defeated, Kruta rushed to Noah and demanded to know what was happening, prompting Noah to ask if she remembered anything. In reply, Kruta explained that after Valjima kidnapped her, her brain did a factory reset. Realizing Noah had defeated Valjima, Kruta surprisingly embraced him and joyfully thanked him for avenging her family. At that moment, Nino and Loga burst into the mansion, looking like they'd just wrestled a titan. Nino immediately flung herself at Kruta, overjoyed she was alive, while Loga, still catching his breath, reported that all the undead and ogres outside had abruptly ceased moving. Following that, Nino expressed gratitude to Noah for joining her to save her idol, and simultaneously, Loga thanked Noah for being the best bro, and then pulled him into a bear hug so tight it could have cracked a rib. After the emotional roller coaster, Loga suggested they bag up the demon's remains and return to the guild. But as Noah reached for Valjima's body, he was stunned to discover the dude's head was gone. Suddenly, Valjima's half-head reappeared amid blazing flames, wickedly commending Noah for being the Gigachad to defeat him. Yet, Valjima ominously vowed that, with only a few minutes left to live, he'd drag as many humans down with him. Without delay, Valjima chanted a demonic incantation and summoned the demon dragon Hydra from the pit of hell. Instantly, the mansion began to crumble, forcing Noah and the team to scramble for safety. The structure soon exploded, but fortunately, Noah and his companions escaped alive. With the demon dragon Hydra looming in the sky, Kruta warned the team that, given Valjima's threat, the demon would target the border city, leaving them little or no time to alert anyone. Noah, on the other hand, regretted not finishing Valjima when he had the chance. Gripped by remorse, he clutched his sword tightly and urged the team to flee. To clarify, Noah directed them to race back to the border city and evacuate as many people as possible while he stalled the beast. When the team protested, refusing to abandon him, Noah shouted, asking if they'd rather all perish together. With a fierce glare, Noah stressed that he'd never let his team die alongside the city's innocents and implored the team to go. Seeing Noah's resolve, Kruta obeyed and began to withdraw, while Loga immediately carried a stubborn Nino onto his shoulder as she resisted leaving. With the team departed, Noah calculated that, despite his efforts, he wouldn't last 3 minutes against the Hydra, but it was enough time for the team to escape. Bruised and battered, Noah gripped his sword firmly and, at that instant, recalled Reiza's words. As long as his spirit endured, he'd rise again and find strength to fight on. With those words carved in his heart, Noah roared with resolve, challenging the monster to come at him, vowing to take it down. His defiance enraged the Hydra, but just as the demon lunged at him, a voice boomed, praising Noah's tenacity. Still clutching his sword, Noah froze, recognizing the familiar voice. Suddenly, with a burst of energy, Reiza appeared, soaring through the sky like Quicksilver, sword in hand, toward the Hydra. Without pause, Reiza unleashed a flying slash, followed by a quadruple flash, and in one fluid strike, severed all the Hydra's heads, leaving Noah utterly shocked. At that instant, the Hydra erupted like an atomic blast, while Reiza landed on the ground, visibly annoyed that the Hydra hadn't put up much of a fight. As the dust cleared, Reiza approached Noah, insisting they head home, but Noah, unwilling, turned around and bolted away. Swiftly, Reiza caught him just in time, scooping him up like an arrogant brat, and on their way back, they encountered Nino, Loga, and Kruta, who were shocked at seeing Noah being carried like an invalid. Moments later, Kruta apologized to Noah on the team's behalf for leaving him to face death alone, and then hugged him in Reiza's presence, vowing to grow stronger so he wouldn't have to risk himself again. However, witnessing her little brother embraced by another woman, Reiza fumed, nearly drawing her sword, but Noah quickly asked her to chill, explaining that Kruta was just a friend. Shortly afterwards, Noah finally confessed to the team that Reiza was his older sister, stunning them. Loga remarked that it explained Noah's extraordinary strength, while Nino mentioned that the whole guild would lose their minds if they found out. But Reiza instructed her to keep her leaking faucet of a mouth shut, explaining she didn't want the public aware of their sibling bond, and then declared she'd take Noah home immediately. The team were shocked at hearing this, but Reiza thanked them for looking after her brother. When Kruta pointed out that Noah looked anything but thrilled at returning home, Reiza tried everything to lift his spirits. She assured him she'd improved after some self-reflection and promised to train him into a better swordsman using notes rather than brutal practice. Furthermore, Reiza pleaded with Noah to come home, vowing this time, her guidance would be gentler. Still, Noah refused, firmly stating he'd rather stay in the border city. Disheartened and frustrated, Reiza asked if his rejection stemmed from despising her methods, but Noah shook his head. Noah acknowledged that her training made him an adventurer, yet he didn't want to keep depending on her. Moreover, Noah pointed out that Reiza's overwhelming power meant going back would revert him to letting her handle everything for him. Ultimately, Noah declared he'd remain in the border city to grow stronger with his team. After hearing all Noah had to say, Reiza conceded she understood, but then pointed out that Noah could stay under 2 conditions. First, Reiza firmly declared that Noah had to stay 100% maidenless. Not a single plot would be developed, a condition that made Nino and Kruta wildly uncomfortable. For the second condition, Reiza insisted Noah had to land 1 clean hit on her by any means necessary. Seeing Noah's waning confidence, Reiza added that succeeding would grant him permission to stay and keep his whereabouts secret from their other sisters. When Noah suggested slaying a monster instead, Reiza rejected the idea, stating she wanted to gauge his strength firsthand. Panicking, Noah reminded her they'd dueled countless times without him ever landing a hit, a truth Reiza confirmed before asking if he'd rather return home. After deep contemplation, Noah resolutely declared he'd take the challenge, astonishing Reiza, who marveled that her little brother no longer feared her. With the duel set, Reiza asked Loga if he knew a secluded spot away from public eyes, and when Loga affirmed he did, Reiza tossed him a bag filled with gold coins and requested he book it. Reiza announced the duel would occur in 3 days, and then challenged Noah to show her all he'd learned in the city, to which Noah confidently vowed he wouldn't lose. Hours later, the team, alongside Reiza, returned to the guild, and Avolt, the guild master, thanked Reiza for accepting his invitation to assist. Avolt also remarked that he'd never imagined a demon capable of summoning a Hydra had breached the human realm, and then pointed out that something sinister might be happening in the demon world. With that, Avolt promptly directed Lumilia to report the matter to headquarters, which she hurriedly left to do. After Lumilia departed, Avolt expressed gratitude to the entire team for their courage and resolve in safeguarding the people. Later that night, Logar reminded Noah of his visit to Barg's shop the next day, and when Noah asked if they were tagging along, Loga shut it down quickly, saying they had urgent business. Following this, Reza inquired if she could crash at Noah's place that night, claiming she'd forgotten to book a room. In reply, Noah said he'd need to check with the innkeeper, but Reza insisted it'd be enjoyable, even suggesting they bathe together like old times. However, Kruta objected, swiftly grabbed Noah, and declared that, siblings or not, she wouldn't permit it. Reza instantly got pissed and started to reach for her blade, but when Noah intervened, proposing they secure her a room through the guild instead, Reza fumed and vowed that at their duel, she would beat him so badly, he would leave in a stretcher. The next morning at Barg's workshop, Noah couldn't shake Reza's threat, which left him visibly rattled. Meanwhile, Barg, after verifying Noah had completed the monster tortoise shell request, decided to check out his muscles like a creep for any growth since their last encounter. But mid-check, Barg noticed Noah was kinda uneasy and demanded to know what the problem was. Hesitantly, Noah confided about his duel with Reza, surprising Barg, who demanded to know how Noah got himself entangled in a match with the kingdom's most feared swordsman. Noah admitted he couldn't elaborate, saying it had sparked in a heated moment. But Barg blamed his reckless action on Gen Z's terrible decision-making skills and then promised to help Noah defeat Reza. Sometime later, the team met up with Noah at Barg's workshop, but upon seeing them, Noah was shocked and wondered why, in the world, they looked like they had a street fight with Baki. When he learned they'd trained with Reza, Noah, shocked, demanded to know why they would even do something so reckless. Nino explained it was for his duel in 3 days. Kruta interjected, revealing they'd hoped to land a hit and uncover Reza's weaknesses for Noah to exploit. But instead, Reza beat all of them up like thieves, proving she had zero weakness. Stunned that the team went to such lengths for him, Noah listened as Kruta admitted she'd even pulled out every adventure trick she had, only to still get clapped and confirm Reza's perfection as a swordsman. Excitedly, Noah proclaimed that if his sword alone wouldn't suffice, he'd find other ways to beat Reza. Just then, Barg burst in, carrying 2 wooden boxes, which he later unveiled as weapons crafted to help Noah for the duel. When Noah complained that he had no idea how to use the weapons, Nino volunteered to assist, and Loga also offered to teach Noah his shield techniques. Curious, Noah asked if adventurers could share such valuable skills, to which Kruta replied that without his arrival in the border city, they'd likely be dead, adding they'd do anything to ensure his victory. Loga chimed in, stating the most crucial reason, and before he could finish, Nino completed it, saying they wanted to keep adventuring with him. The following morning, as training began, Reza slipped into the training ground, disguised, to spy on the team. As the training commenced, Nino lectured Noah on throwing darts like a true assassin, explaining that he simply needed to guide their trajectory. Nino showcased this by launching 3 darts at a tree, but they curved mid-flight and headed straight for Loga, who stood ready with his shield. With a deft shield technique, Loga subtly redirected the darts, sending them crashing into the target and shattering it completely. Noah marveled at the display, but Kruta promptly began her lesson without delay. Kruta informed Noah that her technique, blade-shaped mana, required constantly infusing a blade with mana, which would lose form without sufficient practice. Demonstrating, Kruta taught Noah to maintain the mana blade's shape and was surprised when Noah mastered it perfectly, a skill that had taken her 3 days to learn. Cranking up the difficulty, Kruta blindfolded Noah, locked him in a chokehold, and then tasked him with sustaining the blade's shape under pressure. Watching Noah get manhandled by Kruta, Reza, who was still spying, grew intensely jealous. Her anger flared further when she noticed Noah seemed to enjoy getting manhandled by Kruta and was smiling hard like he had just struck gold. This sight made Reza realize it had been ages since she'd seen Noah laugh so freely. Back home, all Noah ever did with her was train relentlessly. Clenching her fists in regret, Reza finally acknowledged that for years, she'd treated Noah like a punching bag with a pulse. Observing Noah's joy with the team, Reza couldn't help but question if he even needed her anymore. Later that night, in a plush hotel, Reza took off her plot armor, ready for a bath, while reflecting on how the guild had funded the luxury stay just to persuade her. Amid rising demon activity, the guild had enlisted Reza as a sword master, though she worried her presence might stir trouble. Submerged in the steamy tub, Reza couldn't stop thinking about Noah and her plan to bring him home. A month had passed since Noah left, and she struggled to believe that in that time, He'd vanquished a demon and fearlessly challenged her to a duel. No longer could Reza dismiss Noah as a talentless piece of trash. Clearly, he had surpassed the average swordsman. Before, Noah lacked spirit and confidence, yet Reza couldn't pinpoint how he'd gained both in just a little time. Gazing at her reflection in the water, Reza yearned to shower Noah with kindness and affection. Suddenly, something clicked in her brain. Reza reasoned that Noah's rapid growth and boldness couldn't have emerged in a mere month, unless Kruta played a role. Reza suspected Noah's newfound confidence was just a way to show off in front of Kulta. Reza even theorized that Noah's bold dual acceptance stemmed from a desire to impress Kruta and an attempt to riz her up. Irritated, Reza emerged from the bath, dressed, and gripped her sword, resolved to make Noah see clearly during their duel. Determined, Reza vowed to treat Noah with more gentleness and care this time. While shadow training with her blade, Reza decided to teach Noah properly this time and aimed to reclaim his love and affection gradually. The day of the duel finally arrived, and Noah resolved to battle with all his might. While sitting on a bustling street, Loga handed him a sandwich, which Noah devoured and found delicious. Loga assured him the sandwich was packed with enough fuel to survive the absolute demolition Reza was about to serve him. Then, Loga suggested they visit a brothel to replace his lost ball energy after the duel. But before Noah could even consider this nonsense, Kruta and Nino tag-teamed as the ultimate cockblockers, threatening to snitch to Reza if he kept trying to corrupt Noah's innocent soul. After a quick lunch and drinks, Noah felt refreshed and invigorated, so Loga guided them to the duel's venue. Upon reaching the building, the team stepped inside and was stunned to discover the place resembled an average rundown bar. Suddenly, though, Noah heard an ominous rumbling from a sketchy door in the corner and nearly soiled his boxers in fear, as he suspected Reza was the source. Loga clarified that the door led to the bar's renowned underground ring, and as they descended, Logwa explained that the underground ring was once an arena for brutal, bloody spectacles, but was abandoned when the owners went broke. Arriving at the underground arena, Noah instantly spotted Reza awaiting him, and the two locked eyes. With a steely glare, Reza declared it was time, adding that she'd wield a wooden sword to avoid wrecking the city with her strikes. Before the long-anticipated duel began, Loga, acting as referee, outlined the rules. He specified that the match was a single round with no time limit, and it would only end if Nea landed a single hit on Reza, or if Nea became incapacitated without having landed a strike. In both cases, either Noah wins or Reza wins. As both fighters assumed their stances, Loga signaled the duel's start. Reza wasted no time charging at Noah with the intent of knocking some sense into him, but as she swung her wooden blade with stunning force, an explosion erupted. Surprisingly, she saw Noah still standing, unfazed. At that moment, Noah took off his cloak and proclaimed he'd face Reza with all he'd mastered as an adventurer. In retort, Reza scoffed, called him cute, and then reminded him that she wasn't some novice he could beat with gimmicks. Noah countered that he figured, and that was why he had prepared a special finishing move just for her. Noah immediately launched a single flash attack. Reza barely blinked. She could tell he had slapped some flying strike mana onto his blade, but she dodged it so effortlessly and then clashed blades with Noah fiercely. Noah anticipated her dodge, yet he also noticed Reza moved unusually sluggish compared to her typical crackhead speed. Sensing an opportunity with her slowed pace, Noah seized the chance to strike again. This time, he unleashed a flurry of multiple strikes, but Reza merely danced through them. Frustrated, Noah ignited his blade with flames, thinking he'd finally burn through Reza's wooden sword, only to grow anxious when it remained unscathed. Impressed, Reza praised Noah's fiery assault, yet she casually remarked she'd show him what an actual flame looked like. Without delay, Reza conjured a mighty claw of fire, instantly giving Noah a nightmare. With the ferocious power of the flames, Reza struck, clashing blades with Noah, and the sheer force shattered the ground beneath them, stunning everyone. Struggling under the attack's weight, Noah couldn't understand how Reza could be so insanely strong. Amid the strain, Reza warned Noah she'd unleash a similar blow, and realizing another hit of that magnitude would send him straight to the wheelchair, Noah borrowed Kruta's bladeless technique, creating a makeshift mana shield that absorbed just enough of the attack to keep his skeleton intact. Meanwhile, from the sidelines, Loga curiously asked how Reza's wooden sword withstood Noah's fire. In response, Kruta speculated that Reza likely reinforced her wooden sword with mana. Back to the fight, Reza commended Noah's newfound strength and then stated that it was their first true head-on clash. Prompted by this, Noah demanded to know the importance of the duel, to which Reza replied that the outside world was dangerous. Reza recalled their earlier battle with the Hydra demon, and then explained to Noah that returning home with her would ensure his safety under her and their sister's protection. Just then, the team rallied, chanting for Noah to stand firm and remain strong. Noah, on the other hand, realized that the duel would not be truly won, even if he managed to land a blow on Reza. Instead, Noah understood he needed to convince Reza that, despite the world's dangers, he could face them with his friends by his side. Noah told Reza that he appreciated her concern, but then firmly declared he wouldn't return home with her. Immediately after, Noah challenged Reza to use her signature move, mentioning she'd only shown him the secret technique once. When Reza questioned if he was certain, Noah asserted that if he could withstand it and also managed to land a hit, Reza would have no choice but to acknowledge him with all her heart. Reluctantly, Reza consented, and suddenly, the ground quaked as she activated the quadruple divine sword formation, splitting into 4 versions of herself. Noah recalled that his face had swelled the first time he faced Reza, splitting into 4. According to his sister Seal, this quadrupling was Reza's Kenki. When Noah inquired about what a Kenki was, Seal explained that it was a power focused on physical enhancement, the ultimate technique for self-division. Seal had cautioned Noah that the clones weren't illusions but real entities. In essence, he'd be battling 4 sword masters at once. Back in the present, Noah felt certain that with Reza employing this technique, he couldn't possibly lose. Although Reza trusted her skill, Noah recognized that the quadruple divine sword formation, while formidable and a single hit by just one of the clones, would put him down, it slowed Reza considerably. Confidently, Noah prepared to exploit this flaw and defeat her. Noah initiated his assault by adopting Nino's blade-throwing technique. He launched 4 mana blades at Reza and her clones, following up with a single flash, but Reza and her doppelgangers evaded and charged at him in retaliation. Yet, Noah smiled, aware that with Reza and her clones engaging up close, they'd entered his striking range. Just as they attacked in unison, Loga instinctively shut his eyes, unwilling to witness his bro's defeat. At that moment, however, Noah unleashed a flame strike from above, catching Reza off guard. Swiftly, Noah redirected the fiery assault, and realizing she'd be hit, Reza grabbed one of her doppelgangers to shield herself. Undeterred, Noah deployed 4 blade smoke bombs, hurling them with precision at Reza. Though they missed, the bombs detonated, cloaking the arena in a smoky haze that obscured Reza's vision, and in that instant, she lost track of Noah. Unbeknownst to her, Noah had slipped right behind her. Before delivering his blow, he thanked Reza for her unwavering care and expressed his love, leaving her stunned. Ultimately, Noah landed a hit, which Reza blocked with her hand. Nevertheless, a hit was a hit, so Reza praised his effort, sparking elation in Noah and his team for winning the duel. Kruta, Nino, and Loga, tears of joy streaming, rushed to embrace Noah, thrilled that he'd remain with them as an adventurer. Turning around, however, Noah noticed Reza slumped on the floor, visibly dejected. Approaching her, Noah urged Reza to stop sulking. Yet, as she sifted sand with her hand, Reza demanded to know how Noah was able to distinguish her true self from her doppelgangers, to which Noah replied that he relied on his little brother's intuition. Skeptically, Reza insisted her clones were flawless, but with a grin, Noah reassured her that, as her little brother, he could always tell. Throwing a tantrum like a brat, Reza shouted that she wouldn't accept a duel decided by mere intuition and then insisted on a rematch. Firmly, Noah countered that no amount of whining would grant her one. With her head bowed in sorrow, Reza asked if Noah no longer needed her presence. Before Noah could answer, Reza explained that her strictness over the years was aimed at strengthening him. But now, sensing his growth, she feared he'd reject a nagging older sister. Tearfully, Reza added that even when Noah had professed his love during the duel, it felt like a ploy just to lower her guard, and she doubted if he could truly love a harsh sister. But just then, Noah enveloped Reza in a hug from behind, affirming she was his cherished sister, of whom he was proud. He emphasized that, despite not sharing blood, they were family, and he'd always want her near. As tears rolled down her face, Reza pleaded for him to come home, but Noah released her, stepped forward, and gently told her that a time to leave the nest had arrived, and it was now. Just then, Kruta interjected, offering her perspective, suggesting Reza could visit Noah anytime, as he wasn't blasting off to Mars in an Elon Musk spaceship. Noah agreed, noting that Kruta's logic made sense, and after finally putting her dusty brain to use, Reza eagerly realized she could drop by whenever she pleased. With that realization, Reza consented to Noah staying in the border city, pursuing his adventurer life, and growing stronger. Overjoyed, Kruta beamed, prompting Noah to invite her to his party, which she accepted with an enthusiastic hug. Yet, as Kruta smooched Noah, Reza shot them a soul-piercing death glare and then reminded Noah of not planting his sword in anyone's scabbard, to which Noah quickly assured her he was keeping it zipped and unloaded. The next day, Noah was out on the street, contemplating whether to swing by Barg's workshop, when he froze in shock upon seeing Reza carrying a massive sack like a powerhouse. Curiously, Noah asked why she'd returned to the border city after leaving the previous night, and Reza replied that she'd come back to see him. Intrigued, Noah pressed her about the enormous bag's contents, to which Reza gleefully revealed she was moving into a house she'd bought there, leaving Noah dumbfounded. When Noah questioned if she intended to relocate, Reza confirmed her relocation plans, stating she'd be staying for at least half a month. Meanwhile, back at the Windstar Castle, Noah's other sisters were holding their second family strategy meeting. Seated at the grand table were Seal, the fourth sister, Fem, the third, Ecclesia, the fifth, and Alia, the eldest. Puzzled, Alia demanded to know why Reza was absent from the gathering. Infuriated, Alia shouted, demanding to know why Reza skipped a crucial meeting about their beloved brother's future. Seal interjected, explaining that Reza had been summoned by the Adventurers Guild, which prevented her attendance. In response, Alia retorted that Reza was no adventurer and could have declined, especially since they'd scheduled the reconvening. Fem chimed in, noting that while finding Noah was paramount, a Hydra had apparently emerged in the border city. Still, Alia insisted Reza could have slain the Hydra and returned home on time. Abruptly, Ecclesia cut in, revealing they had even graver reasons to worry than Reza's absence. Ecclesia disclosed that her intelligence network suggested the border city was a prime location where Noah might be. This sparked panic in Seal and Ecclesia, but Fem rose and declared she'd issue a decree as the Empire's saint and summon the Holy Army. Fem clarified that this army comprised the world's mightiest soldiers who rallied under her name. Furthermore, Fem added that with the army's aid, they could eliminate the Hydra and locate Noah in the process. However, Fem cautioned that since the other sisters lacked combat training, they'd designate Seal to lead the search. Accepting the task, Seal acknowledged her initial failure to stop Noah as the root of the problem and vowed to bring Noah home by all means necessary and shower him with affection. Meanwhile, in a forest on the border city's outskirts, the team collectively tackled a monstrous ogre, with Noah delivering the final blow, a water strike and a single flash that reduced it to mere chunks. Later, as the girls bathed and kept praising Noah for his impressive effort in defeating the ogre, Reza arrived and cringed at the sight of slime on the ground. She yelled for someone to eliminate it with fire, prompting Noah to volunteer, incinerating it with magic before suggesting they head back since the night was falling. Sometime later, as a light rain began to fall, a mysterious girl appeared at the site where Noah's team had dispatched the ogre. Observing the ogre's corpse, she noted signs of fighting multiple people and figured it best to report the matter to the masted Kurdian. Additionally, she deduced that the swordsman responsible, capable of defeating the ogre in one clean strike, must be a master. Suddenly, her gaze landed on the charred slime. This somehow excited her like a freak as she vowed to share her blood with the slime. Slitting her hand, she scooped up the burnt slime and pressed it to her wound, watching it swirl up her arm. With a chilling resolve, she swore that once the slime fully healed, they'd together teach humanity the meaning of true terror. The following day at the guild, the team submitted the ogre molars from their completed mission at the receptionist's desk to claim their reward. Suddenly, Noah alerted Lumilia to a minor issue with the mission's details. He noted that the monster's location in the guild's preliminary information was inaccurate. In response, Lumilia explained that, recently, monsters had been moving in unprecedented ways, making it challenging for the guild to pinpoint their exact positions. Consequently, Lumilia informed Noah that monster experts, known as monsterologists, would soon visit the guild to investigate the phenomenon. Upon hearing this, however, the team panicked. When Noah asked who these monsterologists were, Loga clarified they were the Adventurers Guild Research Institute tasked with studying monster ecology. But then, Logwa cautioned that they were a bunch of super-cultured monster maniacs. To elaborate, Nino revealed they'd once coerced her into dressing as a wyvern and tossed her into a nest to mimic its young. Kruta added that they'd forced her to confront an ogre with no melon cover. However, Lumilia concluded by assuring Noah that, despite their oddities, the monsterologists had crafted a monster encyclopedia instrumental to the guild's success. Shortly afterwards, the team entered a restaurant for lunch and encountered Reza, who insisted on joining them. Loga and Nino didn't mind, but Kruta firmly objected. arguing they'd come to unwind as a party and an outsider's presence would hinder that. Noah supported Kruta, agreeing that Reisa's company might disrupt their team bonding. Irritated, Reisa declared her intent to join the party. However, Noah reminded her she wasn't an adventurer and thus ineligible. Even Nino and Loga opposed her inclusion, citing her overwhelming strength might overshadow their roles. Still, Reisa would not back down and started to drag Noah with Kruta, who insisted on having a talk with Noah on their way home, just the two of them alone. But just then, Loga cut through the commotion, announcing they all needed to be at the guild early the next morning. Thus, the next morning outside the guild, Noah handed the day's request to Loga. Loga clarified it wasn't a mission, but a preliminary investigation tasked by the guild. Specifically, Loga explained it required them to conduct their own inquiry before the monsterologists arrived. Additionally, Loga noted that monster research was often extensive, so the guild enlisted adventurers to assist. Kruta interjected, pointing out that fulfilling such requests boosted adventurer ranks. With that, the team agreed to take on the task. Noah reviewed the request letter and informed the team that their goal was to investigate mana at a specific site. The team reacted with surprise when he revealed the location, the Valley of Razgau. When Noah demanded to know why they looked so surprised, Kruta explained that the valley was a treacherous, densely packed area with poor footing, rarely chosen for research quests. As a result, she noted that Loga and his low-budget Captain America shield couldn't join them there. Just as Loga bid farewell, Nino suddenly recalled Kruta's earlier cafeteria comment about a private talk with Noah, so she also backed out of the quest, claiming she had something important to take care of. As Noah tried persuading Nino to reconsider, Reisa appeared out of nowhere, announcing her desire to join the party. When Noah reminded her she wasn't an adventurer, Reisa flashed an F-rank provisional adventurer's card from Avalt, proving she was now an adventurer. Reluctantly, Noah permitted her to join, and without delay, Reisa approached Kruta, boldly declaring that during the quest, they'd discover whom Noah liked the most. Will Noah's other sisters eventually find him in the border city and drag him back home? Comment, sisters love, if you're eager to find out in our part 2. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. As always, thanks for watching.